You're listening to the One Foot at a Time podcast presented by Drill Right Chemical. We're live at the Utility Expo on the sidelines of the HDD Rodeo with this week's special guest, Rob Krzys from Benjamin Media and Trenchless Technology Magazine.
Guys, thank y'all for joining us today. We're at the Utility Expo here in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a great show. A lot of people inside today because it's raining. So it's gave a big boost to the guys on the inside. We were set up at the HDD Rodeo, and we moved inside so we could really just continue on today. We're going to have some people walking around. You're going to see them in the background. That's what we are right here at the booth. And we've got special guest today, Rob Krzys. He's the president of Benjamin Media, and he also publishes the Trenchless Technology Magazine.
Thank you, Dennis, for getting me here. I really appreciate it. You got it.
Hey, that was a mouthful. You've got a great story, and we want to hear all about it. We've got a lot in common that you get to work with your kids. I've worked with mine, and, you know, it's got its pros and cons. We both know that.
Yeah.
So how did you and your family first become involved in the HDD industry?
That's kind of a long story, but I'll keep it short for you to some degree, Dennis. So back in the late 80s, my dad actually was working at American Augers, and he worked with a group of guys where they bought out American Augers at the time. And me being pretty young at the time, he said, "You need to come down here and, you know, work at American Augers with me." And I said, "All right, Dad." You know, I'm 15, 16 years old, and I get down there, and the first job that I actually did in the trenchless industry is I had to go clean up the backyard of all the auger boring equipment, running a tow motor all over the place, having no idea what I was even doing. At that point in time, you know, American Augers was just getting into HDD.
Right.
You know, they were more known on the auger boring side.
Give us an idea. What time frame was this?
That was probably 87, 88. Okay. Right around that time period.
So you go way back.
I go back in this market just a little bit for sure. And, you know, that was good. That went well. You know, me being who I was and my dad was doing that, the shop guys weren't exactly a big fan of mine because I was this 15-year-old kid working out in the yard, running the tow motor and stuff. At that point in time, he worked this stuff out. Things didn't exactly go the direction they wanted to, and my dad ended up leaving. And his first thought was he had a little bit of a publishing background. So he said, "I think I'm going to start a magazine and call it Trenchless Technology." So he
came up with that name just that quick.
Came up with that name that quick. And that was in 1991 when that all actually transpired out. First, probably the last half of 91, around November, December, put out his first issue. And then
what was that like? You remember that issue?
I actually wasn't involved. At that time, I wasn't involved on that. I do remember the issue, and I have a copy actually sitting on my desk in the office, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Didn't look like it does today, I'll tell you that much.
You guys have come a long ways. They improve every year.
Yeah, we try to.
Yeah.
I mean, we try and cover this market the best we can. And then I joined him about 6 months after he got that started, and he gave me all the jobs he didn't want to do, let me put it that way, right. Which is kind of how it works in a family business sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, it rolls downhill, right?
It does. Yeah. But I learned all through that process, so it was a great thing.
What stands out to you from those early years that, you know, you jumped into this, you started taking all the jobs nobody else wanted to do, but was there something that started that maybe gave you a little recognition that you remember?
Yeah, I think when we started doing drilling seminars in about 93. And, you know, I was the workhorse. This was before there were even PowerPoints, right? So no PowerPoint presentations. We all did the stuff, you know, via like a little overhead.
Oh, yeah.
I built a lot of binders. There was no doubt about that. But I also spent a lot of time in the classroom and learned a ton about drilling from some really, you know, innovative pioneers in the industry.
Yeah, it's I love hearing the stories of guys that, you know, how it's evolved through the years because, you grow with your business, just like you said, there wasn't PowerPoints, there wasn't all the technology that was out there today. And, you had to just make things work regardless of what you had. And you did the best with what you had. So,
you got it. You got a lot of late nights stuffing stuff together. There's no doubt.
What has been something that, I would say just the technology. I mean, we was just talking about AI a while ago. I'm sure that's plays a big part in everything today. And I'm having a little trouble adjusting to it. I find a lot of pros and cons with that. So, what's your thoughts on all that?
Oh, AI is going to be an interesting thing. I'm looking forward to it not being, being in the media market in the industry. Everybody thinks, oh boy, it can write for me. And it's like, it doesn't always write the right stuff. Let's just put it that way.
You can't trust it 100%.
No, we've been testing it for a couple of years now, and some good, some bad. We'll see where it goes. I think I'm a little skeptical on some of it, but I think, I'm also not a doctor. So I don't know what's going on in that whole world of AI, but I'd like to know sometimes. But, we'll see what happens with it. I'm still not 100%, nor am I 100% for or against it, I guess is the best way I can term it.
Well, you cover a lot of people in the HDD, a lot of companies, a lot of, products out there.
Yep.
Was there any one particular project that you covered or something that really stood out to you?
Oh boy, that's a great question on a project. It wasn't an HDD project. I will tell you, I thought it was, and for some reason, it just still to this day makes me laugh. I was actually on a microtunneling project, and, it was about a 50-foot deep pit. Wasn't a big shot. They were crossing a salmon run up in Washington State. And I end up in the operator's cabin with this microtunneling guy. He was from, I think he lived in South America somewhere, and he's talking to me, and you're going to laugh about this because it's not actually a whole big project thing, but I remember because I went up into the microtunneler and everything. I did all that on site, and that is what it is.
Oh yeah.
And he's kind of talking to me, and he was complaining about somebody that was walking around on the job site. We're eating lunch together, and he's got a whole cherry pie, and he just kind of scoops the cherry pie out with his hand, and then he reaches over and hands it to me too. And me being a kid essentially at the time, and this guy was pretty big and built guy. And I thought to myself, if I don't take this piece of pie, this guy's not going to like me. So I just stuck my hand into that cherry pie and scooped it out, too.
That's awesome. That's a great story right there. I like that.
But that wasn't the job. But, I've been on a lot of big drill jobs and seen a lot of really cool stuff that these guys can do, man.
Oh, I bet you have. I bet you could tell stories for days because, I've had your guys' magazine through the years and looked at publications that you guys have done, and you keep it interesting. You keep things, coming. You're always bringing, new products, new places, new jobs, and it's interesting to just follow it. So it's not the same old thing every time. You guys really do keep it interesting.
Well, I really appreciate that. We do the best we can. We've got a lot of editors that have been with us for a long time, so they've seen the industry for 20 plus years.
Oh yeah,
they see some different stuff happen. There's no doubt.
What story or individual has left the strongest impression on you throughout your career? Do you have anybody that you just think has just made a good impression on you?
I don't know about a good impression
or a bad one,
considering how we all know some of the drillers. Let's put it that way. Well, it would be bad if I didn't call out my dad to get me started in this market. But I can give you three guys. I'm going to give you three guys that really kind of, back in those seminar days, they kind of took me under their wing and taught me what was going on in the industry. And that was Frank Cannon, who was a Baroid at the time. And we all know Frank's
a legend,
name.
Man. I'm a mud engineer.
Yeah.
Frank is the one that paved the way for all of us in HDD. So I have so much respect for him. It's unreal.
Yeah, he did. He also taught me a lot about playing cards and staying up late at night. So Frank was a big, big one. And we're actually going to dedicate the HDD Rodeo trophy and call it the Cannon Cup.
That's
Frank.
great.
So that's a cool thing. He does. But it was Frank, Mark Van Houweling, who was at Vermeer. You may know these guys, too. Mark Van Houweling, who's actually going to be put in the Hall of Fame for the HDDA this year. Yeah. And he was at Vermeer. And then they had John Archambault on the side up with them, too, who was running. He was running on the McLaughlin locators at the time. And those three guys, you know, when we were doing these seminars, they would just pull me in and be like, come on, Rob, you're coming with us. And I would
take you under their wing and help you out.
Yep, and teach me, the whole ropes.
You're smart enough to listen, I guess.
I think so. I did my best. I had some late nights with Frank, but that was about all I could say there.
What continues to motivate you to highlight people and projects? Because, you got to keep going every year after year, project after project. What motivates you?
Well, I think, over the years, and especially in the HDD market, there's always been bumps in the road, right? Where we always had some issues with whether it was utility strikes, whether it was issues with fluid disposal. So, and it's interesting that these things, I think with the market right now, as it changes in age, these things starting to pop up again on occasion. And you're well, hold on a second, guys. And I think one of the big motivations, especially with drilling and partially with the rodeo now too, and getting that reinstated is to show everybody like, hey, this can be done. This is like, a quality way of doing this job, not have this disruption. And these guys are getting damn good, Ages ago when we had the event.
They're so precise now, it's unreal.
Yeah, and that's the motivation factor to it. It's like, drillers are a unique breed, Yeah. We got to support them, and we got to get them to.
Well, you guys do a great job at that. I'll just tell you because, anytime somebody's, their story or their products, we've been in y'all's magazine and we always showcase it every time. Yep. It's kind of a feel good moment to be in the magazine. So just know that's something that we take. We don't just take for granted. We enjoy being able to be out there on the forefront, and that's thanks to you guys for keeping it going. So
I love to hear that. That's great news.
Yep.
Do all we can do in that sense.
How has having your family join the company changed or strengthened what you do?
Now, wait, you started by saying you're in the same boat as me in that
I'm
sense.
In the same boat. Yeah.
I think, it's great. As we both know, we can always count on the family at points in time. Exactly. And that's a really important factor. It may take a little bit of fighting back and forth, but eventually we're going to get to that point. My dad's had the opportunity that he gets to, run around and go do stuff now. And now my daughter Megan's involved.
Yep. And she's doing a great job.
Yeah, she's doing such a wonderful job of growing up into the marketplace and learning this too. And I think that's, outside of us just being magazine publishers, we really got to understand, you really have to understand what you're talking about, what you're writing about, and who is the important part too.
Yeah.
So I think that's those are the big factors there.
Well, I think it's great how you guys have, went through the years of you coming up under your dad, your daughter coming up with you, and I just, it's amazing because not everybody can work together. It's to see you guys having fun out doing this, enjoying what you do. And I think that's the main thing. I think you guys are just like me. Not everybody's going to enjoy drilling mud.
No.
There's only so much glamour you can put on it. When we brought Anthony on, first thing he said was like, there's not a whole lot you can do to glamorize drilling mud. So, there's a lot of truth to that. You can make a label look good. You can, but it's hard to come up with something day after day after day, year after year to make drilling mud fun, know. So, the fact that you've been able to keep that going in your family, I think is has a lot to be said for your family. So, just continue to keep doing that, I would say, because you guys do an awesome job.
Thanks, Dennis. That's awesome. Appreciate that.
Why do events like the HDD Rodeo matter to the broader trenchless guys? Why do you think that? Because it went away for a while. It happened years ago, then it went away for a little while. Now you guys have brought it back. Tell us why you brought it back because I think it's an awesome event.
Yep.
And we're proud to be a part of it. And I would just like to hear from you how that came about. And
it kind of goes back to some of the previous stuff where we do see a lot of younger guys coming into the marketplace. We don't see the drillers changing as much with their fish stories. Let's put it that way, right? Oh, yeah, I can do that shot, no problem whatsoever. And it's like, well, now you got to come prove that you can do that shot, or I can drill, 2,000 feet in, 3 hours and be out of here. And it's like, but you got to kind of show up and show us that you can do that. And as we looked at the market some more, over the last 30 years, you and I both know there were some bumps in the road in the marketplace where it kind of had it highs and lows. And I really think that the establishment of the marketplace for HDD is so strong now. We're no longer seeing like moratoriums within cities and those types of issues. We can generally work through those things.
Right.
And we just looked at it.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And that's why we looked at it that way. I mean, the very first rodeo, it was pretty amazing to me. We had, at the time, it was the National Telecommunication Damage Prevention Council, which I think is still active, part of CGA.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of those, a bunch of AT&T guys, MCI guys out there, and they were helping us judge. And even if these guys were a foot off, these guys were tickled in the field. They're like, man, this is 1998. Like, we can do this. Like, we can actually spec this drilling, and we can do it. And I laughed. I'm like, well, they're a foot off. And he's like, well, that's okay. That's in our tolerance. This last rodeo that we had a single guy that far off. I mean, it blew my mind, to be honest with you.
They're trying to hit a ring this big out there. Yeah.
In that gap, it's like, man, I'm impressed now, guys.
Yeah, the technology has come so far in this industry. I was just talking on the last podcast. I get amazed every day, and like these guys doing maxi rig shots where they're intersect bores.
Oh.
I mean, that used to be like they'd spend days out there trying to hit. Now these guys got that down to a science. I mean, they're right in each other's hole out of the ground.
Yep.
And make those enters. They make it look so easy, and it's not, by the way, but they make it look so easy out there, and it's all because of the technology and where it's came. You're exactly right on.
I couldn't agree with you more, and that's part of this market too. It's like everybody supports each other in that sense, Manufacturers are out there going, we want this to happen for you. You know, we don't want to we're just not here to sell you this. We want this to happen for you guys. Like, we want to make it happen, and it's pretty cool.
What gives you the most pride when you look back on your career and the people you've met? Like, what just really gives you pride knowing that you've been a part of this or been able to showcase something, or because you guys have done an amazing job. I mean, you guys, it's not there's jobs all over the U.S., and you can pick and choose where you go and what you focus on, and you guys have done just a great job of, keeping guys like me continuing to get the publication,
the information, and everything, and pushing it out there. I think that's a big part of it. Even in this world, like I'm old school media in that sense, right? I still love my print mentality. I'd say in today's day and age, I got, we brought in some younger people, and, the transition to being able to go to websites and e-news now, and as you balance out that content and that information, I think as the team pushes that stuff out, I'm really happy to see that. Don't get me wrong, not that I wouldn't love to be back to just a print magazine in our world, and I think you probably agree with me a little bit on that too, Dennis. And it's but I think that big growth transition within our market is, and I'm really proud at how everybody reacted to it and accomplished it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with just going to look at everything on the computer.
Yep.
I don't know why. Used to, you get a newspaper thrown at your house, and that doesn't happen anymore. It's you get online to read the newspaper, and you get all your news. I mean, you're getting the news before it's news. You know what I mean? You're looking on Facebook, or you're looking on the news, and it's coming up as it's happening. So, I would think it's hard in your industry. I would think that's tough because by the time you can get a story and get it published and get it in people's hands, a lot of them have already heard it. So, that's a battle.
Or like you said, you got a driller doing some TikTok video that he's celebrating, and it's like that goes viral everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, I would say that's something that work hard to, figure out what to do and how to grow your business.
Yep.
For somebody young looking to get into the media business, what advice would you give them, or how do they do that?
That's a tough question with all the tech today. I think, I know that locally by us in Ohio, there were some schools that were like disrupting that altogether and saying, we're not even going to talk about magazines. And I know they've morphed back in that direction a little bit. I would say first and foremost, you can't depend on the AI. You got to be able to write good content first and foremost. You got to get out and meet the people you're talking to too. You can't just, sit back and talk on the phone and go, oh, I can write a story about them. No, you actually got to get to know them a little bit. You got to meet them. That's very important. And again, that dependence, you can't depend on technology 100%. You got to be out there and do it. You got to, like I said, you got to write the content. You got to design it appropriately. Find out what they like. Ask a lot of questions would be the biggest key.
Well, and I would think you guys have to do that a lot, because it's a changing, every year is different, and what's keeping people's attention now is not going to do it next year. So you're constantly having to figure out what people want.
Yeah.
So, my hat's off to you. I don't know that I can do that, because that's, just getting on here and being on this podcast it's totally out of my comfort zone. And, I feel like I'm getting, better each podcast, but it's totally out of my comfort zone, or was in the beginning. I've come a long ways in the last couple of years, but, to do this kind of stuff and step out in something, and I encourage everybody, step out of your comfort zone, try things that you don't feel 100% comfortable with, because first time you're going to fail, you're going to fall on your face, but that's what I like to experience new things and try new things and see if I can do it.
I agree. That's where you're learning. I mean, that's the biggest area of learning. There's no doubt. And you bring up a great point. Like even in the podcast, there's so many different channels too now. So pick your media channels too, and be probably a little more specialized with what you do with them too. Right. Versus I'm going to do everything. We both know how that works out. If you're trying to do everything, it doesn't work out all the time.
No, I really love this industry. It's been a great industry for me and my family, and I know it has you and your family.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough good about it. Even this trade show. I mean, give me your take on this trade show. You've been here many, many times.
Yeah, my first one is in 1993, as I recall, or 91, and I don't think I've missed one since. So.
How did it look in 93? Because I didn't come to it back then.
It was a little smaller. And this exact hall we're sitting in wasn't even here, quite honestly. So it was a lot smaller. And if you think about it, I think this show is where Ditch Witch had their first self-contained rig. You saw the first one here at Utility Expo. I think both Ditch Witch and Vermeer each had one at that point in time. It was a lot different. Yeah. Not as much outdoors, and more indoors, a little smaller. I think what they've done in growing this show and the manage that they've done it's an awesome event to come to.
I agree. I think it's
one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's definitely been great for us. Each year each time we come here, we get a little better. We have a little better looking stuff each time, but building the relationships. Yeah. I mean, if you're not out here building relationships with people, I mean, you're missing out, because they're here.
Yeah.
And they do come. I mean, got rain outside. Everybody came inside today, and I don't think any of our guys, I mean, if they ate lunch, they ate it on the run, because they have been talking nonstop since we got here at 9 o'clock this morning. And they're still, I mean, you can see them behind the booth. I mean, as fast as people walk up, they're talking to them. And this has just been a great show so far, but it's always been a good show. We've built a lot of relationships. Michaels was just here.
Awesome.
He was on a podcast earlier. This is where we met him. This is where that evolved, you know. So you don't ever know who you're going to meet, who you're going to run into, and how that relationship's going to evolve if you don't get down here and do it.
I couldn't agree.
And
there are a lot of good places to build those relationships in Louisville, too. So.
Yeah, there's plenty of that.
We've probably been to a few of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of places to go have fun. And
you and I probably shouldn't keep doing that at times. But we're
well, I can't stay out as late as I used to.
Exactly.
And, can't drink as much as I used to.
We just take it in a little bit more now.
Baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, we had some fun times.
Oh, yeah.
Not that they're going to go away, but got to pace ourselves a little better.
Yeah, I got my wife here this year. She's trying to keep me in line. I just had a hip replacement.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's here and she's like, look, still go have fun, but, let's not have all the fun this time. You let the other guys enjoy it. I said, all right, I'm in.
That's what we got to do with the younger ones. It's your turn now, guys. We'll come out and have fun, but it's your turn.
Take it and run.
Yep.
Well, what else? Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today that we haven't covered?
I got to think about that. This is a great conversation. I love sitting down, and I really appreciate you guys, taking the time and saying, hey, Rob, come on over, do this. Probably not much else. I know that, we are planning the rodeo for next year in 2026. It's going to be first week of December in Perry, Georgia, which is a place that we had it before. We actually have the exact same field site, even though this fairgrounds has grown dramatically.
Right.
Really good soil conditions, which I think you're going to like that one, too, because it's really good soil. A little bit of a sandy loam. It's not too bad, a little sticky. So.
Oh, yeah. We'll figure it out.
And we're going to pull a pipe, too. So,
I'm going to pull pipe in this one. We're
going to pull a pipe in 2026 because that's the real job, right?
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about it. So we're going to set up to pull pipe, and I'm really excited about that. I think that'll turn out extremely well now that we've kind of revived this whole thing, and maybe next time that'll be my thing that I'm really proud of. Where I'm like, man, we got the rodeo rocking and rolling again in a big way.
Hey, I appreciate you guys bringing that back because that was one thing that I really liked years ago, and I wanted to even try to enter it, but we had so many ups and downs, and we was either so busy we couldn't go, or we had just got burnt by somebody and we didn't have the money to go, so we had to go work, try to make up for lost money. And I never got to participate, but I always wanted to because I thought it'd be a lot of fun. And
you still can?
I might. You never know. I got a buddy. He said, how about we break out the D24 umbilical unit? You locate, I'll operate. Let's go kick them boys' ass. I said, I might do this with you,
I would love to see that. That's what won the first rodeo. Was an old umbilical cord machine that was just...
Yeah. We had one.
It didn't look so good, but man, they did a good job, is all I can say.
Hey, we would pull up on...
A vintage class. In the rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
New equipment, vintage guys. Get George down.
Yeah.
The vintage historical rodeo you got to bring in.
I
don't know if I have enough room for all those box trucks parked next to the drill rigs.
That's the first challenge, is to get it started.
I remember when they first started having the 2440 come out that was self-contained, and we still had the D24. And those guys used to get mad. We'd go on those long-haul fiber jobs, and we'd have that old D24 umbilical unit, old truck, everything. And that truck was that rig was leading footage every week.
Yep.
And they're like, how is that happening? I said, because we're not having to wait on those automatic rod loaders. As soon as we're back, we're stabbing another pipe in there and going, Those were good units.
Little swabbing and stabbing, right? That's basically it.
That's it. Well, Rob, I want to tell you, I really appreciate you sitting down with me today and sharing your story. I've always been intrigued by media, even though I'm not that, educated in it, nor am I an expert in it. So, but I've always liked media because, the marketing is where it's at. If you're not marketing your company and you're not marketing what you do, nobody's going to know about it. Yeah. So if you want to fail, don't market your company.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to market it, working with you guys is a great place to spend your money.
I really appreciate that statement. I agree with you. I think that I think the web world is so crazy and saturated right now. Nowadays, branding to cut through all that, noise, basically, you got to cut through the noise and you got to put your name out there.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to do it at times in print, at times, digital. But if you don't put it out there, you're not going to get, the almighty clicks if that's what you're looking for. And because nobody knows what it is.
And nobody's going to put it out there for you.
That's right. So you got to do it.
You got to spend the money. You got to take the time, and you got to make it happen. Yeah. So, again, appreciate you sitting down, and appreciate what you guys do. And we'll see you tomorrow at the HDD Rodeo here at the Utility Expo. And thank you again for bringing that back.
Thank you, Dennis. I really appreciate it.
Yep. We'll see you on the road somewhere.